Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Stoltari, and I'm a genealogist and a passionate traveler. For the last few years, I've been featuring each fille du roi, or king's daughter, and getting to know each of their stories a little bit better. There are over 700 of them. We're now on episode 239. Can you believe it? We've come so far. Let's get started and get to know episode number 239. But before we do, let's find ways that you can support the channel. The first three keep you in the know. Notify, subscribe, and like. All of those help my logarithms and all that good stuff and really gets the word out. The next three are ways to help the channel itself grow. We have two independent platforms called Patreon and Coffee. And of course, the PayPal option is on my website, Have Roots Will Travel, where you can also find the indexes to previous episodes. So with that being said, let's get started and get to know our fille du roi number 239. Episode 239 comes to us via a viewer request. And then when I looked in my files, guess who also has this as a great-grandmother? Madonna. So you share, if any of you are related to Marguerite Tenard, you are also related to Madonna. Marguerite was born in 1633 in the commune of Milly-la-Forêt in France. You can see on your left top screen, Île-de-France, which contains the city of Paris and all its suburbs. And inside, on the bottom left, you'll see that she is part of the region, or département, we would say, of Essonne, and that is where Milly-la-Forêt would be found. Now, the church that she would have belonged to was founded in the 11th century, and it was once the chapel of the castle before becoming the church of the city. And originally, the crossroads of the old post routes from Paris to Lyon and from Fontainebleau to Orléans, this is where it kind of was there. The October fairs were famous. As many as 45,000 sheep and cows could be found here. So it was kind of a happening place at one place. It's about 55 kilometers from Paris. After her parents passed away, she left for New France as a fille du roi. She was older. She was 33 years old. And she arrived in Quebec at La Nouvelle-France, on the ship La Nouvelle-France, on August 11, 1666. The groom that she selected and who selected her, his name was Charles Boyer. We've all heard that name as an actor in the 1930s, but she married the original, I guess. He was born in 1631 in a place called Valls in France. It's pronounced with the L and the S's silence. Parents Pierre Boyer and Denise Réfance. You can see he's part of that Nouvelle-Aquitaine region, and inside that region we have Deux-Sèvres département. The church that he would have been baptized in is Place de l'Église in his small town. They have about 1,600 now, and this is an aerial view of it. It has existed since probably the late Bronze Age, and they have had documentation of the age of this place, of how long it has been here. And the name actually derives from the Roman occupation, more specifically Valerius. And it was apparently a Roman notable who took up residence here and this would later become the village. So it has kind of that regal air. And this is where Charles would come from. Now, Charles was not a regal man. He did come to New France on the ship Le Taureau in 1664, and by 1666, he was found as a domestic servant in the house of Lagrange, and so he was 35 years old. So he paid his way, you know. So Marguerite had arrived in August of 1666. And obviously, Charles was doing his, apprenticeship, his an engagé, as they would say. Most probably had completed that and had acquired land. November 23rd, 1666, a mere 3 or 4 months after she arrives, they are married in Montreal. They would start their married life in Montreal. Let's talk a little bit about this amazing city. It started off as Ville-Marie, And it was the Paul de Chamédy, Sœur de Maisonneuve, who essentially was the founder in May of 1642. It was really meant as almost a missionary center. The colony would not thrive, and by 1653, Champagny had decided he needed to return to France to try to save this place. And he would bring back 100 recruits, which would become known as Le Grand Recrut, the big recruitment. From this small group would evolve the Notre Dame congregation from the Sister Marguerite Bourgeois, and would grow. And these 100 people would basically form the beginnings of Montreal. And it was a scary place. It was not the Montreal that we know and love today. It was a place that people from Quebec and Trois-Rivières would say, who would ever live there? It was attacked by the Indians, and the Iroquois were absolutely on their tail. They had no regiment, no army to protect them, until about 1663, when, again, Champagny decided, hey, we need to have an army. So he actually created a militia as well. So these were very, very tough times. And people who would be founders of Montreal would eventually become true pioneers in many respects. So eventually they would settle at La Prairie. La Prairie, which means the meadow, was first given to the Jesuits in 1667. The seigneurie would develop very slowly, but by 1687 it had both a flour mill and a sawmill. In 1691, the lumber would act as a barrier to the attack from the mercenaries who came from New England. A few years later, a small wooden church was built. So it was very, very slow in terms of growing, and you can see it on the map here where it was. It was next to the Seigneurie of La Salle, the Sault de Saint Louis, and Châteauguay, those of you who are familiar. On the left hand of your screen, I want to show you where it is situated next to Montreal. So they basically went off island. Now remember that Marguerite was 33 years old when she came. So the fact that they had 6 children is a testament to her strength. The first child, Marie, would marry André Foran and have 14 children, 8 of whom would make it to adulthood. Joseph would become an engagé out west, so we don't know any more information. Antoine would marry Marie Perrin and have 13 children, 9 of whom would make it to adulthood. Jean-Baptiste would marry Anne Caillé and have 7 children, 2 of whom would make it. Fille du Roi Anne Aubry is the mother of Anne, who we have not yet profiled. Marguerite would marry Jean Bonnet and have 4 children, 1 of whom would make it. And Louise would pass away before the 1681 census at 3 years of age. Marguerite would pass away sometime between February 1678 and October of that same year. She and Charles would have been married 22 years. She would be about 58 years of age, just phenomenal. And she would leave us with 105 descendants as of 1729. Just remarkable. With children to take care of, Charles would find another wife very shortly in 1678. He married Louise de Breuil, who was the widow of Martin Degnaud. Louise is a fille mariée that we have not yet profiled. And this is a copy of their marriage record. This is actually on the left hand of your screen, a sketch of La Prairie Church. And I tried with, artificial intelligence, that AI. I actually created this just to try to, imagine what it might have looked like. Now, here's the 1681 census. We have Charles and Louise, both 50. His children, Marie, Jean, Marguerite. They have 5 goats and 8 arpents, which means about 6 acres of land. Charles would die at La Prairie sometime between 1698 and 1703. Remember, it was a very small territory and did not yet have a church, and it is logical that they would not have any records. So we do not have any records for either Marguerite or Charles. And here are some of the resources that I use for Les Filles du Roi episodes. We have La Société des Filles du Roi, Quebec Genealogical E-Society, Nos Origines, of course, WikiTree, Filles du Roi Descendants, which is a fabulous Facebook page, Généalogie Québec, which of course is the mother of all research, and La Société d'Histoire des Filles du Roi, for those of you who speak French. All of these are excellent resources, and I have posted the links in the notes section should you want to check that out. So some further research, we have a fabulous book by Susan McNally, The Women of Ville-Marie. I cannot tell you enough how much this book impressed me and gave me more detail about the lives of the women, not only in Montreal, but certainly this focus on Montreal, but also of that time. And now those of you who can speak French, Les Filles du Roi, pioneers of the Librairie Seigneurie, they have published a book on that, and I've given you the links to both of those. And so we come to the end of episode 239. Marguerite Tenard. She came to us late at 33, but what an impact she made. She not only was a pioneer in Montreal, but also in Librairie. She's featured in that book. So she made a lasting impression, which goes to show you it's never too late. And so I want to thank her for her contribution, for her steadfastness, and for making certain that her descendants, notably my viewer and Madonna, are here as a testament to her bravery. So thank you to Marguerite for coming to us, and thank you for your gifts. I also want to say thank you to my patrons and supporters and subscribers. Thank you to all of you who have helped me along on this journey. It's been a tremendous ride. Thank you so much, and I appreciate all of your words and kindness. It really, really means a lot, and it keeps me going, and we have a long way to go. So until I see you on episode 240, au revoir.